my dear students. Today we are going to start our new chapter of class 8th history, which is very relevant as well as an interesting chapter, that is Britishers and the education. In this chapter we will know about the education system in India, which was there before the coming of the colonial rule, and after what were the changes introduced in it after the coming of the British rule in India. Students, you know that education play a very important role in shaping the structure or the economy of the country, or in shaping the future of any of the country. In a similar way, education play a very important role in our country also. So we see that how in the past time before the coming of the Britishers, our education policies were there, and how the changes in that brought a change in the mindset of the people of the country. So first topic which we study in the chapter is pre-colonial education in India. In this topic, we study about the education system in India before the coming of the colonial rule. Before the coming of the Britishers in India, there was a Pathshala system in India. The schools were known by the name of a Pathshalas, and in Pathshalas there were gurus who give the education to the students. There was a report submitted by William Jones, who said in his William Adam, who said in his report, and he submitted his report in 1830s, and he said in his report regarding the Indian Pathshalas, which type of the schooling system or the education system was there in India. In that he said that in India there was a Pathshala system, and at Pathshala there were gurus. There were around, according to his estimate, there were around 1 lakh Pathshalas. In those Pathshalas, the ratio of the teachers versus the student was 1:20. Means one teacher was there for 20 students, which is a good ratio. And one thing you have to remember, that this estimate or the report submitted by the William Adam was based on the region of the Bengal and the Bihar. He did his survey in the region of Bengal and Bihar, and then he submitted his report. First thing in the report, that in India, in this region of the Bihar and Bengal, there was around 1 lakh of the Pathshalas, and the ratio of the students versus teachers in the Pathshala is 1:20. Second thing, and very important thing, is that which is said in that in India the education system which was there was of the kind that there was a open schooling system. Means there was no classroom concept. No classroom was there, and the education was given in a open place under the trees. And there was no in today's time there is a furnitures there in a class. There is a classroom, in that there is a furniture. Apart from that, there is a regular attendance system, and fee structure is there. A specific curriculum is there which we have to follow for the year, and after that there is the examination at the end of the year. But at that time, before this is the education system introduced by the Britishers, which consists of all these things and which we are following now also. But during the time of the pre-colonial time, before the coming of the Britishers, there was no such things. There was no examination, no fee structure was there, no specific curriculum was there, no classroom, no furniture. The education was given, means that when there was no curriculum, the teacher taught the student what he find is important to be taught to a particular student. So it means the education was more student specific, what was the need of the student, or his mindset, which type of the mindset the student had. According to that, the education was provided to him. Apart from that, the other thing told to by him in the report was that The education which was provided was the classes were off during the time of the particular time, that is the harvest time, because in India you know that there was agriculture based economy. So the student who came to study in the Pathshalas mainly belong to the rural background. So during the harvest season or the sowing season they can't be able to attend the class. That's why the school remained closed. In a similar way as now you are having the summer vacations and the winter vacation. So this was the education system during the pre-colonial time in India. And before the pre-colonial time means during the ancient time, what was the education system in India? At that time, during the ancient time, there was a kind of a Gurukul, ashram type of education system. A Gurukul kind of education system in which the student, all the students don't get the education, only some students were giving the education who find it important, like the son of the or the children of the royal background, they were giving the education, and they were sent to the Gurukul, means in the ashram of a gurus where they live like a boarding school and got the education. That was the education system of our ancient time. And the Pathshala system was the education system of the pre-colonial time. Okay. Now we come to the next topic, that is education during colonial rule. Means in this topic we will study that what were the changes came in the education system in India after the coming of the colonial rule. So student, as I told you, the changes were those like the education system which we are following nowadays. Okay, means the particular classrooms, student have to study in a classroom. In a classroom there is a furniture, a fee structure is there, a curriculum is there, a regular attendance system is there, and annually there is an examination also. On the basis of that, the report of the student is given. So this is the change. So while studying the change, now we go into a thing how means the Britishers started interfering in the Indian, as they interfere in other things of India, they also interfere in the education system. How they became the part of the Indian education system. So initially, firstly we study about the initial phase. Means initially when they established their rule in India, their attitude towards the Indian education system was different. They were in favor of that, they promote it, that thing. But later on, that we study as a later phase. During the later phase started from the 19th century, beginning of the 19th century, that is 1813 onwards. Their attitude towards the Indian education system changed a lot. And they came up with many changes. So these things we study. Firstly, we go into the initial phase. Initial phase means after the establishment of their rule. So initially, Britishers showed interest in improving the traditional education system of India. Means initially they were in favor of providing the Indian their traditional education system. So they were themselves also so much interested in knowing about the Indian culture, Indian language, because according to their thought that firstly they must have the people on whom they have to rule, they must have to know about them, their culture, their interest, their thinking. That's why for knowing this thing they must have to know their regarding their culture. They can know by their texts, by their books, by their literature. So they were interested in that. And because of that interest, they established in 1718 for promoting the traditional education system of India. In 1781, they established a Calcutta Madrasa in Bengal. And at that time, the Governor General was the Warren Hastings. He was the Governor General of Bengal. So he established in 1781 Calcutta Madrasa for promoting the education of Arabic, Persian as well as the Islamic laws. For that, he established the Calcutta Madrasa. In 1791, Sanskrit College was established, and it was established by Jonathan Duncan. Jonathan established the Sanskrit College for promoting the study of the Sanskrit texts, ancient texts of the Sanskrit, which are related to the Hinduism religion, like that of the Puran, Manu Smriti, all these books, so that through that they can know about the ancient Indian culture. So in means after a decade, in 1781 Calcutta Madrasa, in 1791 Sanskrit College. Students, you must have to remember these dates. These can be asked in a 1 mark and in various competitive exams also these dates can be asked. When the Calcutta Madrasa, or the first education institution, was established by the Britishers in India. So it was the Calcutta Madrasa and then the Sanskrit College. Why it was established? For promoting the study of the Sanskrit texts, ancient Sanskrit texts. And in 1792, Delhi Anglo-Oriental College was established at Delhi, means a year after this. In 1801, Fort William College was established in Calcutta region. So all these were established to promote the vernacular learning in India. Vernacular means local language. Means in all these institutions, the teaching was done through a vernacular language, local language, and the Indian education, the Indian literature, culture was taught over there. And for this purpose only, there was a man named William John. Who was William John? He was actually he came in India as a junior judge. But he, apart from his profession, that is, he was a judge, he was also also a linguist. But a linguist is a person who is interested in learning many languages or who know many languages. So he had the knowledge of various languages like Latin, French, and various European language. And when he came to India, he built an interest to learn about regarding the Persian, Arabic, Sanskrit, these languages. So in 1783, William John came to India, and in the just next year, because of his interest, he established an institution known as the Asiatic Society of Bengal. Asiatic Society of Bengal was established for promoting the vernacular learning, the Indian learning, the learning of the Indian culture, Indian ancient texts. It was established, and this society what it did, the society mainly done the work of the translation of the ancient Indian works, like that of the Abhijan Shakuntala, and that was the drama written by the person known as Kalidas. Shakuntala is the drama written by Kalidas. So English translation was done by William John himself of this Abhijan Shakuntala. And he also had one friend who had a same interest as that of a William John, and the name of his friend was the H.J. Colebrook, or the full form is Henry John Colebrook. William Jones as well as the Colebrook, they together established the Asiatic Society of Bengal because they were interested in the learning of the Asian languages, Asian culture especially. Nathaniel Halhed, he was also his friend. All they were the member of the Asiatic Society of Bengal. What he did, his contribution was the translation work of the Manu Smriti. Means he translated the Manu Smriti and into English and named it as a code of Hindu laws. So all these persons were so much interested in learning about the Asian culture through the ancient texts. And for this they established the Asiatic Society of Bengal in the year 1784. Very important question to be asked in any of the competitive exam, even of the HSC level. Okay, so you must have to remember this. So beta, all these were the British officials or the European who were interested in learning about the about the Asian culture. So these persons were given a specific name. They were known by the name of an Orientalist. What they were called? They were called the Orientalists. Orientalists were the person who were interested in studying the Asiatic culture, Asiatic literature, their ancient texts. They were known as the Orientalists, who were in favor of the study of the Eastern Eastern literature. Because Asia fall in the eastern direction of that of Europe. That's why it is also known as the Eastern side. So here I will tell you about some of the characteristics of the Orientalists. Orientalists were those who had a deep respect for ancient past of Asia, also of India, and India is the part of the Asia, and as well as of their own country, that is European nations also. Means they respect the ancient past. That's why they felt that according to them, whatever they studied about the Indian culture, they felt that Indian civilization attained its glory in the ancient past. In the ancient past, India had a great glory, but because of various reasons, it had a decline of that, and Indians forgot their glorious past. To understand India, according to them, it is necessary to discover the sacred and legal texts of India. Through that only they can know about the Indian culture and the people of India, and it will be easier for them to administer them. That's why they promote the learning of the Asiatic culture. British and why they were doing so, according to them, when they promote the learning of the East, then they became the guardian of the Indian culture, because they somewhere guided it, the thing which were lost in the past, now they were reviving it. That's why in this way they became the guardian of the Indian culture, and this helped Indians also. This is the benefit to the Britishers, that they themselves get the credit of becoming the guardian of the Indian culture, and Indian also recover their own heritage. How they became the guardian? Because they helped the Indian to recover their own ancient heritage. Hindu and Muslim to be taught what they were, according to them, which type of education should be provided to the Indians. According to them, Indians should be taught what they had already familiar and what they valued. Not the subject, any of the subject which is alien to them, which is totally unknown to them. Instead of that, the subject which must be taught to them, it should be familiar with them. And that means the Indian should be familiar with that subject. They value that subject. They want to learn that subject. So they were in favor of the vernacular studies. Means teaching the Indians the vernacular learning. And why they were doing so? Because according to them, only then British could win a place in the heart of the native. Native means Indians. Only through this way they can win the heart of the Indians. But this is all about the Orientalist. But beta, after, as I told you, this was the education policy during the initial phase. Initial phase means till the 1830. And the story got changed in 1813. What happened in 1813 after the coming of the Charter Act? Charter Act came in 1813. And after the coming of Charter Act, the things changed. What was there in the Charter Act? First thing you must remember the date of Charter Act, 1813. Very important act. Okay. What were the things given in the Charter Act? The first thing, it allowed the Christian missionary to come to India and to teach the Indians about their religion and to uplift the moral of the Indian, to give them the moral education also. So Christian missionaries were given permission to come to India and taught the Christianity in India. Before this, the company was no more interested in teaching Indians about the Christianity or in uplifting the moral of the Indians, because earlier they were more interested in their trade and to earn their profit. But now when they know that they had established themselves in India, now they became interested in other things also. So first thing, Christian missionaries were giving permission to came to India and they taught the Indians. The second thing which was given in the Charter Act was that 1 lakh rupees was reserved for providing the education to the Indians. Means the government has given amount of 1 lakh to provide the education. Then which type of education? Native education, Indian education, and the education of the Indian culture, literature, Indian learning, native education to the people of the country. But what was the shortcoming of this was that in this Charter Act, the medium of instruction was not given. It was not clear that okay, education should be provided, this much fund is reserved for providing the education, but it was not made clear that what was the medium of instruction in providing the education to the Indians in the Charter Act. So because after the coming of this Charter Act, now when the amount of 1 lakh is started to be invested by the company on the education of India, now some of the British officials became critical of that. They thought it to be the wastage of their money to teach the Indians their vernacular language, because according to them the Indian education is totally wastage. It is like these institutions, all those which were established earlier, they were considered by those people to be the temple of darkness. Temple of darkness means the place where nothing is taught to get to enlighten the mind. These things only led the people to the darkness, to the superstition, all these things. So they were against the Oriental learning. Means Eastern learning is known as the Oriental learning. So this new group which emerged now, which is critical of that Orientalist learning, were known as the Anglicists. Very important. Known as Anglicists. So here I told you regarding to Orientalists. Orientalists were those who were in favor of the Eastern learning. Anglicists, they were critical of it. They were against of it. So they started suggesting to the company that it is means giving 1 lakh rupee on the Indian education system is totally the wastage of the money. So we must have to reconsider this. So regarding this, the debates goes on, and what happened in the year 1935. There was one British official who was very influential official also, known as the Macaulay, Thomas Macaulay. Thomas Macaulay. Thomas Macaulay beta was the Anglicist. As I told you, Anglicists were those who were against the Oriental learning. Okay. Thomas Macaulay came with his Macaulay Minutes. Minutes means the things given, a suggestion given. Came up with the Macaulay Minutes, which is known in the history by the name of the English Education Act of 1935. In this Macaulay Minute, a few important points were there. The first important point which was made clear that the English must be the medium of instruction in the higher studies. Okay. And second important thing which was given in the Macaulay Minute was that no money should be invested in that of the Oriental learning, like the Calcutta Madrasa was there, Sanskrit College was there. Means all these were considered to be the temple of darkness. And that's why it was the wastage of money to give money to these. Because of this reason, the new schools were open. And in these schools, the Western education, the Western science was introduced. And this was done to make the Indians aware about what were happening, what were the new inventions were coming in the world, was going on in the world, what is there in the field of science, the new discoveries were there, to introduce all these things. And according to the Anglicist, The purpose of education is not at all to win the place in the heart of the native. Instead of that, the purpose of education is to educate the people, to provide the education to the people, to bring them out of their ignorance, because according to Anglicists, Indians were the ignorant one. They were living in the age of darkness, in the age of the superstition. So it is our moral duty to bring them, to make them civilized. So according to these Anglicists, why they were introducing the Western education in India to civilized Indians. So the important thing about regarding the Macaulay Minute was that English should be the medium of instruction. Second thing, the amount which is reserved for providing the education should only be invested in providing the Western education, not a vernacular education to the people. So this Macaulay Minute is known by the name of the English Education Act of 1935. So this is all. In the next video we will continue. Thank you.